Words have the power to inspire, persuade, and transform lives. Yet, in a world where everyone is talking, few people are truly heard. We live in an era of information overload, where long-winded speeches, endless explanations, and unnecessary details often drown out the true essence of what needs to be said. The key to impactful communication is not in speaking more, but in speaking better. This book is about mastering the art of saying less while making a greater impact. Many of the world's greatest leaders, speakers, and storytellers have understood that brevity is power. A single well-chosen sentence can be more powerful than an entire paragraph filled with unnecessary words. People remember clarity, confidence, and purpose in speech, not rambling or over-explaining. By learning how to communicate concisely and effectively, you can influence others, strengthen relationships, and make your words truly matter. This book will guide you through the science and psychology behind effective communication, helping you understand why people respond better to clear and concise speech. It will introduce you to techniques that will refine your ability to express thoughts with precision, whether in personal conversations, professional meetings, or social interactions. If you've ever felt like your words don't have the impact you desire, if you struggle with over-explaining, or if you want to command attention when you speak, then this book is for you. By the end, you'll not only learn how to say less, you'll learn how to say it in a way that makes people listen, remember, and act. Chapter 1. The Psychology of Communication. Communication is at the core of human connection. It shapes relationships, drives decisions, and influences perceptions. Yet, the way we process speech is not as straightforward as many assume. The human brain is wired to seek meaning efficiently, filtering out unnecessary details to focus on what truly matters. Understanding this natural tendency is the first step in mastering impactful communication. When someone speaks, the listener's brain processes the words, tone, and context simultaneously. However, the brain can only retain a limited amount of information at a time. Studies suggest that people typically remember only a fraction of what they hear, and that fraction decreases when a message is overly complex or lengthy. This is because the brain prioritizes clarity and relevance, discarding excess details that do not contribute to immediate understanding. When a speaker overloads their audience with information, the brain disengages, causing people to tune out or forget most of what was said. Imagine sitting through a long-winded explanation versus hearing a sharp, to-the-point statement. The first might overwhelm you, while the second sticks with you. This phenomenon is why slogans, taglines, and short, memorable speeches leave lasting impressions. Great leaders, from historical figures to modern influencers, have harnessed this principle by using fewer words to make their points more impactful. Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address was just 272 words, yet it remains one of the most powerful speeches in history. Similarly, Steve Jobs' product launches were effective because he distilled complex ideas into simple, compelling messages. The problem with excessive speech is that it forces the listener to work harder to extract meaning. If the brain has to sift through too much information, it loses focus and disengages. This is why conversations filled with unnecessary details often feel exhausting, while concise and purposeful dialogue feels refreshing. The less effort required to process a message, the more likely it is to be absorbed and remembered. Brevity is not about saying less just for the sake of it. It's about removing the unnecessary so that what remains is powerful and clear. When a message is stripped of filler words, redundant phrases, and unnecessary explanations, it becomes sharper, more direct, and more persuasive. People appreciate communication that respects their time and mental energy. In professional settings, a leader who speaks concisely commands attention and respect. In personal relationships, clear communication reduces misunderstandings and strengthens connections. The power of brevity lies in its ability to focus attention. When you say only what is essential, your words carry more weight. The brain instinctively pays attention to what is concise and meaningful, making every word count. This is why the most effective communicators are not those who speak the most, but those who speak with intention and precision. Understanding how the brain processes speech reveals a simple truth. The less mental effort required to grasp your message, the greater its impact. By learning to strip away the unnecessary and embrace clarity, you can ensure that your words are not just heard, but truly understood. Chapter 2. The Role of Silence in Effective Speech. Silence is often misunderstood. Many perceive it as awkward, empty, or even a sign of weakness in conversation. Yet the most powerful communicators in history have mastered the art of using silence strategically. In a world filled with constant noise, knowing when to pause can make your words stand out, giving them more weight and impact. Pauses in conversation are not gaps to be filled, but tools to be used. A well-timed pause allows the listener to process information, creates anticipation, and emphasizes key points. Think about a powerful speech or an engaging storyteller. What makes them compelling is not just their words, but also the way they pace their delivery. When an idea is followed by silence, it lingers in the listener's mind, allowing its significance to fully register. This is why politicians, public speakers, and even skilled negotiators use pauses to make their statements more memorable and persuasive. Silence also conveys confidence and authority. People who rush through their words often come across as nervous or uncertain. In contrast, those who take their time, allowing moments of quiet between thoughts, exude a sense of control and composure. When you embrace silence, you signal that you are comfortable with your words and do not need to over-explain or fill every moment with speech. This makes others perceive you as more credible and trustworthy. In professional settings, leaders who use silence effectively command attention and respect. In personal interactions, pausing before responding can prevent misunderstandings and lead to more thoughtful conversations. Beyond its impact on others, silence also enhances your own ability to communicate effectively. Many people speak impulsively, saying things they later regret or failing to choose their words carefully. Learning to be comfortable with silence gives you the space to think before you speak. It allows you to process emotions, organize your thoughts, and ensure that what you say is intentional and meaningful. The ability to pause before reacting is especially valuable in conflicts or high-pressure situations, where a measured response can prevent unnecessary escalation. Yet, despite its power, silence can feel uncomfortable at first. Social norms often pressure us to fill every gap in conversation, leading to excessive talking and unnecessary explanations. The key to overcoming this discomfort is practice. Start by incorporating short pauses in your daily conversations, before answering a question, after making an important point, or when transitioning between ideas. Notice how people react and how it changes the flow of the conversation. With time, you will become more comfortable with using silence as a tool rather than fearing it as an absence of speech. Mastering silence is one of the most overlooked yet powerful skills in communication. It allows your words to carry more impact, establishes your authority, and helps you speak with greater clarity and confidence. When used effectively, silence is not an absence of words. It is the space that gives them meaning. Chapter 3. The Minimalist Approach to Speech. Words are like currency. The more you use them carelessly, the less valuable they become. In a world where attention spans are shrinking, the ability to communicate effectively with fewer words is a skill that can set you apart. Too often, people believe that speaking more makes them sound knowledgeable or persuasive, but in reality, excessive words dilute meaning. When a message is cluttered with unnecessary details, the core idea gets buried and the listener loses interest. The problem with excessive speech is that it forces the listener to work harder to extract meaning. Instead of focusing on the essential message, they must sift through filler words, repetitive phrases, and irrelevant details. This mental overload leads to disengagement, and in many cases the message is either misunderstood or forgotten. On the other hand, when you strip away the unnecessary and focus on the essence of what needs to be said, your words become sharper, more direct, and more memorable. The principle of less is more in communication is not about saying less for the sake of it, but about ensuring that every word serves a purpose. The most effective speakers and writers carefully craft their words, eliminating anything that does not contribute to the core message. This is why poetry can evoke deep emotions with just a few lines, and why the most powerful speeches in history are often remarkably concise. The strength of a message lies not in its length, but in its clarity and impact. History provides countless examples of how minimal speech can be far more powerful than lengthy discourse. One of the most famous examples is Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. In just 272 words, he delivered a speech that remains one of the most revered in history. In contrast, the speech given before him at the same event lasted over 2 hours and has been largely forgotten. Lincoln's ability to distill profound ideas into a few sentences made his words timeless. Similarly, Steve Jobs was known for his minimalist communication style. When introducing groundbreaking products, he didn't overwhelm audiences with technical jargon. Instead, he used simple, powerful statements like, "Today, Apple reinvents the phone," when unveiling the iPhone. These words were memorable because they were clear, direct, and emotionally compelling. The effectiveness of minimal speech is also evident in great literature. Ernest Hemingway was a master of brevity, known for his ability to convey deep emotions in just a few words. His famous 6-word story, "For Sale, Baby Shoes Never Worn," is a perfect example of how much meaning can be packed into a minimal amount of text. Learning to embrace a minimalist approach to speech requires conscious effort. It starts with self-awareness, paying attention to when and why you tend to over-explain or use unnecessary words. One useful exercise is to practice summarizing your thoughts in as few words as possible without losing clarity. Before speaking or writing, ask yourself, what is the essential message I want to convey? What words can I remove without weakening the meaning? When you speak with precision, people listen more attentively. Your words carry greater weight because they are not diluted by excess. By embracing the power of saying less, you ensure that what you say is not just heard, but truly understood and remembered. Chapter 4. Mastering Concise Speech. Mastering concise speech is not about restricting expression, but about refining it. The most effective communicators know that every word should serve a purpose. When speech is cluttered with unnecessary words, the message becomes diluted, and the listener's attention drifts. The key to impactful communication lies in trimming excess, choosing words that carry weight, and practicing brevity until it becomes second nature. One of the most common mistakes in communication is the tendency to over-explain. People often believe that providing more details makes their point clearer, but the opposite is usually true. The more unnecessary words added, the more the listener has to sift through to grasp the core message. For example, instead of saying, "I just wanted to quickly let you know that I think the meeting should maybe start a little earlier if possible," you could simply say, "Let's start the meeting earlier." The message remains the same, but it is now direct and powerful. Trimming unnecessary words begins with recognizing filler phrases. Words like just, really, kind of, and maybe often weaken statements rather than strengthen them. Instead of saying, "I think this is really important," say, "This is important." Instead of, "I just wanted to say that I appreciate your help," say, "I appreciate your help." These small changes make speech sharper and more confident. Choosing powerful and precise words also enhances impact. Strong communicators avoid vague language and opt for words that create clear images. Instead of saying the weather was bad, say, "The storm was relentless." Instead of, "She was very happy," say, "She was ecstatic." Every word should add meaning rather than serve as a placeholder. Precision makes speech more engaging, memorable, and effective. Practicing brevity requires discipline. One useful exercise is the tweet test. Try explaining an idea in a single tweet-length sentence, 280 characters or less. This forces you to strip away unnecessary details and focus on the core message. Another technique is to give yourself a word limit when summarizing something. Can you describe a book, movie, or news event in just 10 words? Doing this regularly strengthens your ability to communicate succinctly. Another powerful exercise is called the one-breath rule. When explaining something, challenge yourself to do it in one breath. If you run out of air before finishing your point, your sentence is likely too long. Breaking ideas into shorter, more digestible sentences makes communication clearer and more effective. Minimalist speech is a skill that requires awareness and practice. The more you train yourself to eliminate unnecessary words and choose powerful ones, the more impactful your communication will become. Whether in personal conversations, professional meetings, or public speaking, mastering concise speech ensures that your words are not just spoken, but truly heard. Chapter 5. The Art of Listening Before Speaking. Most people listen with the intent to reply rather than to understand. They hear words but don't truly absorb them, eager to interject with their own thoughts. Yet, the most powerful communicators are not just skilled speakers. They are exceptional listeners. Listening before speaking allows you to respond with clarity, relevance, and impact. It ensures that your words are not just heard, but truly valued. Active listening is more than just being silent while someone else talks. It requires full engagement, both mentally and emotionally. This means focusing entirely on the speaker without formulating a response in your head. It involves noticing tone, body language, and emotions, not just words. People who practice active listening make others feel heard and understood, which naturally increases their own influence when they do speak. A key technique in active listening is paraphrasing and summarizing. Instead of immediately offering your own opinion, restate what the other person has said to confirm understanding. For example, saying, "So what you're saying is that the deadline change has affected your workflow," reassures the speaker that you're truly paying attention. This not only strengthens trust, but also gives you time to craft a thoughtful response instead of reacting impulsively. Understanding your audience before responding is crucial in any conversation. Whether you're speaking to a friend, a colleague, or an audience, knowing their perspectives, emotions, and expectations allows you to tailor your words for maximum impact. A one-size-fits-all approach to communication rarely works. Instead, great speakers adjust their tone, choice of words, and level of detail based on who they are speaking to. In professional settings, leaders who listen carefully before speaking build stronger teams and make better decisions. Employees respect managers who acknowledge concerns and respond thoughtfully. In personal relationships, people feel more connected to those who listen without judgment or interruption. Even in public speaking, the best speakers often pause to read their audience, adjusting their message based on body language and engagement levels. Listening also improves your ability to choose your words wisely. When you truly understand what someone is saying, you can respond with precision instead of filling the air with unnecessary speech. Instead of guessing what the other person needs to hear, you can provide exactly what is required. This makes your words more effective, whether you're resolving conflicts, persuading others, or simply having a meaningful conversation. Practicing the art of listening before speaking transforms communication. It shifts conversations from mere exchanges of words to meaningful interactions. The more you listen, the more your words will carry weight when you finally speak. True influence comes not from speaking the most, but from speaking with insight, clarity, and purpose, qualities that only great listeners truly master. Chapter 6. Storytelling with fewer words. Great storytelling is not about the number of words used, but about the depth of the experience conveyed. Some of the most powerful stories in history are short, yet they evoke deep emotions and leave lasting impressions. Mastering the art of storytelling with fewer words requires precision, emotion, and the ability to engage the listener's imagination. A compelling short story begins with clarity. Every sentence should serve a purpose, advancing the narrative or deepening its emotional impact. Unlike long-form storytelling, where there is space to build elaborate descriptions, short-form storytelling requires immediate engagement. The opening line should grab attention, the middle should build curiosity, and the ending should deliver impact, all with minimal words. One of the most effective ways to create compelling stories with fewer words is through analogies and metaphors. These tools allow you to convey complex ideas in a simple, relatable way. For example, instead of describing someone's persistence in detail, you could say, "He was like a river carving through stone, slow, steady, and unstoppable." In just a few words, this paints a vivid picture that connects emotionally with the audience. Metaphors make stories more memorable by linking abstract ideas to familiar experiences, reducing the need for lengthy explanations. Emotion is the heart of storytelling. Even in short-form storytelling, emotions must be at the center of the narrative. The most unforgettable stories are not just about events, but about how those events make people feel. For example, Ernest Hemingway's famous six-word story, "For Sale, Baby Shoes, Never Worn," carries a deep emotional weight despite its brevity. It does not state what happened explicitly, but allows the reader to fill in the gaps, making it even more powerful. One key technique in storytelling with fewer words is showing rather than telling. Instead of saying, "She was nervous," a more impactful approach would be, "Her hands trembled as she reached for the microphone." The latter paints a picture that allows the audience to experience the moment rather than just be told about it. This method immerses listeners or readers into the story without requiring excessive explanation. Storytelling is also about rhythm. Just as pauses in speech create emphasis, well-placed breaks in storytelling create anticipation. A short, impactful sentence followed by a pause allows the audience to process its meaning. Comedians, poets, and masterful speakers all use pacing strategically, understanding that timing can elevate even the simplest story. Practicing short storytelling can significantly enhance your communication skills. Try condensing an experience or lesson into a single sentence. Challenge yourself to explain a complex idea using a simple metaphor. The more you refine your ability to say more with less, the more engaging and powerful your stories will become. Ultimately, the art of storytelling with fewer words is about making every word count. It's about crafting narratives that are clear, emotionally resonant, and unforgettable. When used effectively, a few well-chosen words can leave a deeper impact than an entire page of text. Chapter 7. Powerful speech in personal relationships. Effective communication is the foundation of any strong relationship. The way we express our thoughts, emotions, and concerns determines the depth of our connections with others. However, many people struggle to communicate effectively, either by saying too much and overwhelming the listener, or by saying too little and leaving room for misunderstandings. The power of saying less is especially crucial in personal relationships, where words can either strengthen bonds or create unnecessary conflict. Expressing emotions effectively requires balance. Many people assume that being open about their feelings means sharing every thought and emotion as they arise. While honesty is essential, too much information at once can be overwhelming. The key is to express emotions clearly, directly, and without excess words. Instead of venting frustrations in long, emotional outbursts, a simple and direct statement like, "I feel hurt when I'm not listened to," is more impactful than a lengthy complaint. Brevity does not mean withholding emotions, It means conveying them in a way that is easy to understand and respond to. Another crucial aspect of powerful speech in relationships is avoiding unnecessary conflict. Many arguments escalate because people speak without thinking, letting emotions dictate their words. When emotions run high, it's easy to say things that are exaggerated, irrelevant, or hurtful. Instead of reacting impulsively, pausing before speaking allows for a more thoughtful and constructive response. A well-chosen phrase like, "I need some time to think about this," can prevent unnecessary arguments that arise from speaking in frustration. Brevity plays a significant role in strengthening relationships by ensuring that communication is clear and meaningful. When people talk too much, the main point can get lost, and the listener may become disengaged. On the other hand, when words are chosen carefully, they carry greater significance. For example, instead of long-winded apologies or explanations, a simple and sincere, "I'm sorry, I was wrong," is often more powerful than a detailed justification. Listening is just as important as speaking in relationships. People who listen attentively and respond with concise, thoughtful words are more respected and appreciated. Instead of trying to fill every silence with words, embracing pauses in conversation can make interactions more meaningful. Pauses allow both speakers and listeners to absorb and reflect on what has been said, leading to deeper understanding. The power of saying less in personal relationships is not about limiting expression, but about refining it. Thoughtful, intentional speech fosters trust, reduces misunderstandings, and creates stronger emotional connections. By choosing words wisely, avoiding unnecessary conflict, and speaking with clarity, relationships become more harmonious, respectful, and fulfilling. Chapter 8. Impactful Communication in Professional Settings. In professional settings, the ability to communicate effectively can determine success. Whether in meetings, presentations, or leadership roles, speaking concisely and with authority ensures that messages are understood and respected. Wasting words in the workplace can lead to miscommunication, inefficiency, and a loss of credibility. Mastering the art of saying less while making a greater impact is a valuable skill for anyone looking to advance their career. Meetings are often filled with unnecessary discussions, with people speaking at length without getting to the point. To stand out as a professional, it's essential to speak with authority and clarity. This means structuring thoughts before speaking, avoiding filler words, and delivering key points confidently. Instead of saying, "I think maybe we should consider changing the approach if everyone agrees," a more authoritative statement would be, "We should change the approach for better results." A confident tone and concise delivery show leadership and decisiveness, making colleagues more likely to listen and take action. Giving presentations with fewer words is an art that many successful professionals master. People often believe that more information leads to better understanding, but long-winded presentations can lose the audience's interest. The best speakers get to the point quickly, using clear language and engaging delivery. A strong presentation should have a clear beginning, middle, and end, with each section focused on delivering essential insights. Instead of overwhelming the audience with details, using powerful storytelling, well-chosen statistics, and visual aids can make messages more impactful. The goal is to leave the audience with key takeaways, not to drown them in information. Leaders who use concise communication are more effective in motivating and directing teams. Employees look up to leaders who speak with clarity and purpose. When instructions are clear, there is less room for confusion, and productivity increases. Great leaders also know when to listen rather than speak, ensuring that their words carry weight when they do speak. Instead of long explanations, a few well-structured sentences can inspire action. For instance, rather than saying, "Let's try to improve our performance by working together and making sure that everyone understands their roles and contributes accordingly," a leader could say, "Let's focus on collaboration and efficiency to achieve better results." The shorter version is easier to understand and remember. Mastering impactful communication in professional settings requires practice and awareness. By eliminating unnecessary words, structuring messages for clarity, and speaking with confidence, professionals can enhance their influence and credibility. Whether in meetings, presentations, or leadership roles, saying less while delivering more is a skill that sets apart the most successful individuals in any field. Chapter 9: Social Media and the Power of Less. Social media has transformed the way we communicate, making concise and impactful messaging more important than ever. With short attention spans and an overwhelming amount of content competing for visibility, saying less while delivering more is the key to standing out. Whether crafting posts, tweets, or videos, the ability to communicate effectively in a few words can determine how well a message is received and shared. Writing with impact on digital platforms requires clarity and precision. Long, wordy posts often get scrolled past, while sharp, well-structured messages grab attention. The most successful social media content follows a simple rule: get to the point quickly. A strong hook in the first few words is crucial. Instead of starting with, "I want to share something that I've been thinking about for a while, and I believe it's very important," a more effective approach would be, "One small habit can change your entire life." This instantly sparks curiosity and encourages engagement. Engaging audiences without over-explaining requires strategic simplicity. Many people try to explain every detail in one post, making it overwhelming. Instead, breaking content into a series of shorter posts or threads keeps the audience engaged over time. Asking thought-provoking questions, using lists, or making bold statements can also encourage interaction. For example, a post saying, "Success isn't about luck, it's about daily habits. What's one habit that changed your life?" is likely to get more responses than a lengthy paragraph explaining the same idea. The power of saying less on social media is about making every word count. Strong, concise messaging captures attention, drives engagement, and increases the likelihood of shares. Whether creating personal, professional, or brand content, mastering the art of impactful brevity ensures that messages are not just seen but remembered. Conclusion: speak less, say more. Mastering the art of saying less while making a greater impact is a skill that can transform every aspect of life: personal relationships, professional success, and social interactions. The ability to speak with clarity, confidence, and purpose ensures that your words carry meaning rather than just filling space. This book has explored the power of concise communication, showing how speaking less can actually make you more influential, respected, and memorable. One of the key takeaways is that impactful speech begins with listening. Before speaking, taking the time to fully understand the situation, the audience, and the emotions involved allows you to craft responses that are meaningful and effective. Thoughtful listening leads to precise speaking, making conversations more productive and engaging. Another essential lesson is the importance of clarity. Many people use unnecessary words, diluting their message instead of strengthening it. By eliminating fillers, structuring thoughts effectively, and using powerful yet simple language, communication becomes stronger and more compelling. Whether in personal conversations, business meetings, or social media, choosing words carefully ensures that messages are understood and remembered. Developing the habit of impactful speech requires practice. Start by pausing before responding in conversations, asking yourself if your words add value. Practice summarizing your thoughts in fewer words, and notice how much more powerful your statements become. Engaging in exercises like condensing a long explanation into a single sentence or telling a short yet powerful story can help refine this skill over time. Ultimately, speaking less is not about being silent, it is about being intentional. Those who master the power of saying less are not just heard, they are truly listened to. In a world full of noise, the ones who speak with purpose, clarity, and brevity stand out the most. By applying the principles in this book, you can transform the way you communicate, making every word you say matter.